Aloha and welcome to this practice WOD called Browser History with Semantic UI. And this is, I think, going to be pretty fun for you because it's your first experience of using Semantic UI to restyle a web page, and you're going to see how much easier and nicer Semantic UI makes things compared to no framework at all. As you recall, this is what we were able to accomplish in the last unit with just HTML and CSS. It was quite painful, and the results, frankly, leave a little bit to be desired. What we're going to do in this WOD is use Semantic UI, and we're going to come up with something like that, which looks much more modern and just overall nicer. So, what we need to do prior to starting this WOD, you should merge your columns branch from Browser History 3. So you should take a look at your Browser History repo and make sure that you've got the most recent version. So right here I'm in master, and if I go to my IntelliJ and do Option F2 to preview the file, you can see that, okay, my source code is now got this last version. So that's good. And let's see. Also, to be sure to have gone through the Semantic UI Hello World reading. Okay, so go through this. I would recommend doing these steps within IntelliJ just to make sure that you're comfortable. This is really the only thing we're going to use. The meat of it is these 3 lines of code here, but you should be able to understand how to go through and get everything working. Okay, so make sure you've spent 5 minutes on that reading beforehand and played a little bit with it, because it's going to improve your time for this WOD. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with that code, that HTML file, and basically rework it so that we're using Semantic UI and exploring some of the features in Semantic UI, in particular the grid, so we can get multi-column layout, and the menu. That's the basic stuff. Okay, so let's start the timer. As usual, I don't have my timer available, so I'll do that. Now it's available, and I'll click Start. And I'll create a branch off my local Browser History repo master branch called Semantic1. Okay, so click the branch, Semantic1. Okay. And then, having done that, and we check out that branch locally. That operation does that automatically. We'll do all our work for the WOD in that branch. And then if you're doing the WOD for a second time, all you have to do is just commit that Semantic1, revert back to master, create a new branch off of master called Semantic2, and you're off to the races again. We're going to use Chrome Preview instead of Live Reload. It's a little bit nicer for our purposes right now. And then we're going to load the Semantic UI and jQuery file as following the instructions in the Semantic UI Hello World. We can delete the Google Fonts element. So basically what that means is we just need to come down and cut and paste this text. So propeller C, and then we'll go in here, and then we're going to paste it right there, and keep the style.css. Get rid of this with a propeller delete, get rid of that line, and let's go to style CSS. I'm doing propeller A to select everything, and then a delete, just to get rid of the entire contents of the style.css, because we're not going to be using any of that style, and we don't want that stuff sitting around messing with our format. Okay, so that's good. We deleted Google Fonts, we created the style CSS. So now the first thing we're going to do is wrap the page in a Semantic UI container to improve the margins. So I'm giving links to the relevant area for this WOD. At some point I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to expect you to be able to look up this stuff yourself. But for the time being, I want you to kind of see how this works. So this is basically, if you go to the definition part, this is what we're going to do, wrap it in a UI container. So let's go back, and we'll say, well, where is it? We'll wrap the whole thing in a UI container. So div class equals UI container, and then we go down to the end, and do that, and then an Option F2, preview in Chrome, and voila. Okay, all of a sudden we've got these nice margins and the fonts and so forth of Semantic UI. So that's nice. Oops. So wait, let me go back to here. So we improve the margins. Convert the navigation bar into a Semantic UI menu. The menu elements should link to the appropriate places in the text as before. Use the fixed top inverted 4-item menu classes. Okay, so let's just take a quick look here. We can see there's a lot of different kinds of menus. And if we go to the variations, we can see there's this fixed that that make it stick, and we've got various and inverted. We're going to use that one, and then the top one, which is, I think fixed has that as a. So you click on these little things to see actual examples. So here's a UI fixed top menu. It sticks it to the top. So we're going to use a UI fixed top inverted menu, I think. And then you'll notice that within the menu item you have to have a bunch of items. So each element of the menu has to have class item. Okay, so let's go back up here. So we're going to say div class equals UI fixed top inverted menu. I think that was what I recommended, if I'm not wrong. Fixed top inverted 4-item menu. Sorry. Right. So fixed top inverted 4-item menu. The 4-item means it's going to equally space the menu elements across the entire top of the page. So that's good. And then we don't need these ULs anymore because Semantic UI knows enough to, so we don't have to use this crazy li syntax. So we won't. And then we have to say class equals item. Got to add that class to all of these links. So let's just do that. Okay, and then having done that, and then this is the, oh, there's that UL right there. That's not good. Okay. So we kind of just do a visual inspection here. That looks like I've eliminated all the bad markup, and I've got the good good markup. And here we go. See, so it's fixed to the top. It's inverted, and by having 4 items in it, we now have this equally spaced across. And I don't know, you know, if we want, we could say, well, what happens if we took out 4-item menu? I don't know. Let's now go Option F2, and you can see it looks like that. You know, not, I mean, that might be good too. I don't know, but for the purposes of the for the assignment, we're gonna do it the way they say. Okay, but you know, it's a purely aesthetic thing. Okay, so going back to here, now we notice that the page tile is now hidden under the menu, right? Where's the history of browsers? It's no longer there, and that's because the menu is covering it. So this is a standard thing that happens with all, you know, with Bootstrap, Semantic UI, whatever. When you have these fixed top menus, which are really nice, so that you can scroll around and the menu sticks around, you have to move the content of the body down. And so the way we're going to do that is add 50 pixels of margin to the body element to make make that title. And so we're going to style.cs, and we'll go to body, and we'll say margin top 50 pixels. Whoops, 50 pixels. And then control this way to get back to our thing, and then Option F2. And now you can see that we can see the title because we moved the whole body down 50 pixels. Okay, so that's good. What do we want to do next? Okay, so we did that. Well, now notice that the page title's font color is black while the other section titles are blue. Figure out the hexadecimal code for that blue color, then style the title to match that color. Okay, so what I'm saying here is this is nice blue, that's an ugly black. It would be, we could make all these things black, but probably we'd like to make that blue. What color blue is that? So this is a common question you're going to have all the time when you're doing web design, particularly when you're looking at somebody else's page and you go, hey, that's a nice purple. I could really use that purple in my page. I wonder what purple that is. So one way to do it is to do a propeller meta J to bring up our handy dandy Chrome developer tools. Then we click on this element and then we go find the thing that we're interested in and we click on it and we say, aha, well there's the color. Okay? So we want to make this that same color. So first I'm going to copy that color and then I'm going to go back over to here and I'm going to say, you know what? Although in general it's a little sketchy to add a style attribute directly into the text, I think in this case it's just a minor little tweak. Why don't we do it? Okay. The other thing to do would be to add a class called, header style and put the color thing in there and then refer to that class in here. That would be good too. But just as an alternative, let's do it this way. So if I now preview in Chrome, you can see that a history of browsers is now the same blue as the other sections, which looks kind of nice. All right, use Semantic UI image to float the 3 logos. Try UI floated left image. Okay, so how do we do that? We go down and find us an image, and we're going to say class equals, what was that? They say try UI floated left image. Okay, so let's try that. They say. It's pretty funny, like who is they? All right, so we'll look at this first one and see how, whoops, doggone it. We'll look at this first one and see how that looks, and it looks super great. So because of that, let's go back and just copy and paste this into the remaining images. Okay. Doesn't seem to have worked. What's the problem here? Image class UI, floater left image. Option F2. Let's go back here, try it again. There we go. Okay. Oh, but look here, a brief history of Chrome. Now that's indented, so we've got some kind of formatting problem here. And why would that be? Image. Brief history of Chrome. Okay, I think that our divs are a little messed up. So let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of these divs. Which are now superfluous. I'm going to add this to the instructions by the time you actually see this, because those are referring to classes which no longer exist. And there we go. So now things look better. I had an extraneous div in there. Okay. So we floated the 3 logos, and then the final thing is to use Semantic UI grid to put the 3 browser columns into columns. So surround all the sections with a UI equal width grid. Sounds like a good idea. And then we're going to make each of them a column. So the way we do that is we're going to say div class equals UI equal width grid. Okay, and we'll put that around everything. And then each of our little sections inside is going to be one column. So we can say div class equals a UI column. And put that there. And then I'm going to do a Control-L to reformat this because I'm having a little bit of problems with the things not lining up. And then I'll go div class equals UI column for Firefox. So that's my second column. You notice we don't need this silly left, right, center thing going on anymore. And then div class equals UI column. And then we have Chrome. Who's that div? Okay, I missed a div there, I think. So let's do a Control-L to just reformat everything. And it all looks pretty good. So let's do an Option F2, return to preview, and there we have it, history of browsers. And if we look at this, I think we pretty much got the very same page. Okay, so let's call that 14 minutes to do that WAD. And actually, I got to commit to GitHub before I can formally stop it. So let me say finished WAD. And so it might be called that. Let's call it 15 minutes. Okay. I prematurely stopped it. Hopefully from this you've got starting to get a sense of working with Semantic UI. It's a fair amount of playing around with the documentation to kind of see examples of how things work. The other thing I want to highly recommend is you go to the readings and look at the Semantic UI example code pens. These are really useful if you're trying to understand how something's works. So we could, for example, go to the grid one and see a bunch of examples of grids. Okay, and this is right out of that the Pluralsight video course that you've been looking through. These are basically all the examples from that video course. So they're all available to you even after you stop. Even after you stop having access to that course, you can still check this stuff out. All right, hope you enjoyed that WAD. Hope you're getting comfortable with Semantic UI, and I'll see you soon.